Today we're going to determine the amplitude, period, midline, and an equation given the graph of a cosine function. So the first step there is to find our midline. Okay. So to find the midline, we have to add the maximum plus the minimum divided by 2. So in this case, our maximum is equal to 2, and this is our minimum, equals to -4. So that will be 2 plus -4 divided by 2. So that is a -2 divided by 2, which is a -1. So our midline is at y equals -1. So locating that in the graph, this is our midline. Now, given the midline, we will be able to find the amplitude. So amplitude is from the midline going up to the maximum. So in this case, amplitude is equal to, it's 1, 2, 3. So it's 3. Or from the midline going down to the minimum, also 3. Right? So in our amplitude, call it A, is equal to 3. Another way to find the amplitude is to get the half of the absolute value of the maximum minus the minimum. So let's try that and see if we also get a 3, right? So it will be half, maximum is a 2, minus the minimum, which is a -4. So that means I have to get half of 6, and that is equal to 3, which is the same as the 3 we got earlier from the graph over here or over here. Okay? Okay, now we got our midline, we got our amplitude. Now we need to find our period. Now we have to remember one thing about period. Okay, a period, change that. So period is actually equal to the horizontal length of one cycle. Okay, so now we have to ask ourselves, what is a cycle? So a cycle is a complete pattern. Okay, complete pattern. It's a complete pattern of outputs from a periodic function. Okay, so a cycle may begin at any point on the graph of a function. So let us determine some of these cycles. So a cycle, let's just say I start here. I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me change that to a darker one. So I start here, I go down and go up. So for me, that's one cycle, right? Or I can start here as well. This going up and then going down. It's another cycle. And it says here, a period is a horizontal length of one cycle. So from here to here, the length there, that is my period. Or from here to here, the length there, that is my period. And that period is equal to, so it starts from 0 and ends at pi. So period is equal to pi. And for the one at the bottom, it starts from -pi/2 and ends at pi/2. So still it's pi. So then wherever your point is, it should give you the same answer. And in our case, it gave us a pi for both cases. Okay, now, so we found our period, which is a pi. Then now we need to find our equation. Now our equation has this format: y equals a cosine b theta, where A is our amplitude. Do we have that? Yes, we do. And then RB is the number of cycles at 2 pi periods. Number of cycles in 2 pi. And in this case, it's not given. But we can find the number of cycles given the period. Okay, so to find the number of cycles, it's just equal to 2 pi divided by period. So what's our period? It is pi, so 2 pi divided by pi, so that gives us 2. That means our number of cycles is 2. So from there, we'll be able to find or to write our function. Y equals A, our amplitude, is equal to 3. And then we say cosine, because again, we have cosine because here it says cosine. And then B is number of cycles, which is 2. And then theta. That's it. Okay, now I have another example at the bottom. It says here, determine the amplitude, period, midline, and an equation involving sine. So this time we have a sine graph for the graph shown below. So again, the first thing we need to find is the midline. So midline, look for maximum. Maximum is equal to 4, and then we also need a minimum. Our minimum is equal to -4. So what do you think? Oh, hold on. I forgot something from the first one. I forgot to write the midline. Our midline is -1, so I need to have a -1 here. Okay, so for my format, I have to have the midline there. Okay, so let's just put it there. That's -1. And to take note, this is my midline, which is this one over here. Okay, so this is my function. Okay, going back. So midline there is maximum plus minimum divided by 2, which is just 0. That means our midline is the x-axis. And since our midline is the x-axis, our amplitude, okay, amplitude A, so that is from midline going up to the maximum, is just equal to 4. And again, midline, so which is from the x-axis going down, is also 4. That is our midline. Okay, so we got our amplitude. Ooh, that's our amplitude. That's equal to 4. So we got our amplitude, we got our midline. Now we need to find a period. So period is the horizontal length of a cycle. And based from here, I can start from this point and then at this point. So this is my 1 cycle right there. Okay, and it looks like this is a -8 and this is a 2. So this point here looks like the x is a -8, and then over here it's a 2. So that means the distance from here to here is actually at 10. So that's my period, equal to 10. So let me double check. I can start from here, which is a 16. So let's see, this is my, and then ends here, which is a 6. So this one here is 1 period and is also equal to 10. So my period is 10. So I got the period, got the amplitude, I got the midline. Now I need my equation. Y equals A sine B theta, and then the midline here. Okay, so in this case our midline is a +0, so that means we don't have to write this down. We will just end up with a y equals A sine B theta. But do we know our B? Not yet, because B is the number of cycles. But we can find the number of cycles given the period. So cycles is equal to 2 pi divided by period. And that is 2 pi divided by 10, which is pi over 5. So from there, we can write our function y equals A is 4 sine, and our B is pi over 5 theta. If you have any questions, just leave a comment, suggestions. If you want me to solve another problem, just leave a comment. Thank you.